Good morning. I'm Brady Borrell, coming to you live from the historic downtown Franklin Pocket Park. And as they are getting ready to dedicate that beautiful mural that you see, that was, of course, painted by Robert Dafford. He was the creator, the artist. They're going to dedicate it today. Plenty of guests here today, dignitaries, of course, just those that are the big supporters of downtown Franklin. And we wanted to bring this live to you today. As you can hear some gospel music in the background. And as they are about to gear up in just a moment to dedicate this beautiful mural. And of course, as you can, we're going to show you in just a moment, those who had a major part in this. There you go. They, so many people had a hand in this. And of course, we want to give them credit, trying to make a way that you can see the entire picture here. But so many people, as I mentioned, that had a major part in this project. And there you go. Hopefully you can see more right there. The project is being funded by the Louisiana Department of Cultural Development, Percent for Art Program, the City of Franklin, Historic Downtown Franklin Pocket Park, contributions by Marnie Vaughn, the Bargain Barn 2, Al Coleman and the Coleman family, Forest Restaurant, Best Western, of course the Mayor and Town Council, City Council, of course Mayor Eugene Fulcard, the Mayor Pro Tem Lester Levine, Councilman Jamie Robinson, Chuck Oten, Joseph Garrison, and let me see here, we don't want to leave anybody out. And also Mr. Gilbo, he is also a councilman here. And we definitely want to give all of them credit. Ed Tiger Verdin, the project director. He is also Larry Gilbo, of course, that is the other councilman. Ed Tiger Verdin, coordinator and Main Street director, and also the historic downtown Franklin Pocket Park mural art jury. So many people had a hand in this, and we wanted to bring this live to you and invite you to come out to downtown Franklin when you can to enjoy this beautiful pocket park that has been a long time coming, a dream of Mayor Eugene Fulcard, the City Council, Ed Tiger Verdin, their Main Street director, the project director, and a really good crowd here on this sunny Saturday morning, June 1st, as we begin the summer and as we go live. And Mayor Eugene Fulcard is going to open the ceremony.
Good morning. Giving honor to God, I would like to thank everyone for today's 40th anniversary celebration of the Franklin Main Street program and the historic downtown Pocket Park mural dedication ceremony. Very excited about that. Today we celebrate Franklin's culture, history, and vibrancy through our current revitalization. But first, beginning with prayer, I would like to ask the city chaplain and pastor of Greater St. Stephen's Baptist Church, Reverend DeAndre Johnson, to lead us in prayer, followed by a prayer by Aaron Daniels, the culture instructor for Chitimacha tribe in the native Chitimacha language. So if Aaron would come up as well, but Pastor Johnson, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. If we all would bow our heads at this hour. Gracious God, our Father, we bless thee afresh on this day, God. We are yet grateful and thankful unto you, dear God, for giving us life and giving it to us more abundantly. We are grateful, dear God, that as we went to bed on last night, we were able to wake up and experience brand new mercies. And for that reason, we tell you thank you. Now, dear God, as we come on this morning, gracious God, we are grateful for 40 wonderful and glorious years that you have prospered the city of Franklin, dear God, to continue to be a beacon light throughout this community, this land, and this country. Now, dear God, we ask, Heavenly Father, for continued blessings upon the chieftain of this of this city, dear God, Mayor Eugene Foucault, his entire cabinet, and all those that are here on today, dear God, as we gather on today, let us have a wonderful and glorious time in fellowship. And we'll be ever so careful to give your name all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise that you so richly deserve. This is your servant's prayer. In Jesus' name we pray. And let our God's people say amen.
Look me you. Let us pray. Kutnihin. Absheish ishnaka. Nesha nashnaka. Noku chawashtash chun. Himuphuya aminaka. Ushnamush chun. Himuphuya aminaka. Hashhichi anjash unga. Nepushanki absheshnaka. Ashni noktite. Ukscha gasigish. Ne onak hus si kechun kaipa. Uchich na achun. Himuphuya aminaka. Nitia Robert Dafford, Chun him hish husk, he kamtepa, nigabamish, a ish hii, weish hish kaipa, sastix, himopuya aminaka, panch onak wadinich, hechpig nuchmich, na chun himopuya aminaka, hooks kani week, absh imi chui, niwopminaka, weichin sachin. Creator, we thank you for this day and the opportunity to gather and celebrate. We thank you for our communities. Let this be a place where we can gather in unity and in peace. We thank you for the beautiful Bayitesh and all who have made their lives near her shores. Thank you for Robert Dafford and his amazing talent that you have given him and his use of it to touch people's lives. Thank you for all of the people who have worked to help Franklin's Main Street. We ask that you continue to bless their efforts. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all so much. At this time, I would like to recognize our elected officials and special guests that are with us on this morning. We have State Rep Vinnie St. Blanc. Will Vinnie stand and wave your hand? We have Vinnie. We also have Mayor Pro Tem Lester Levine, City Councilman Chuck Otan, City Councilman Joe Garrison. We'd like to thank you all for being here as well. We also have St. Mary Parish Registrar of Voter, Terry Folcard. We have the Cajun Coast Executive Director, Carrie Stansberry. We have the Chitimacha Tribal Chief, Ms. Melinda Darden. Thank you. We have some of the members of the Main Street Board of Directors, Mrs. Dolores Stewart, Mrs. Dee Dee Battle, Mr. Henry Freeman. Okay, thank you, Henry, and Ms. Dee Dee. Also, we have our renowned, internationally known muralist, Mr. Robert Dalford. Thank you so much, Robert. It's beautiful work here. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but thank you so much. Also, we have one of the former Main Street directors that she's with us this morning as well, Mrs. Marla Shadon. Thank you, Marla. Also, we have Marnie and Alan Vaughn, because without the side of that building, we could not do this beautiful mural. So thank you all and your family for giving back as well. Also, we would like to recognize and thank from the bottom of our heart Mr. Al Coleman and the Coleman family for being so generous with helping us out with Mr. Dalford as well. So we thank you, Mr. Al and Mark and the family, for always being team players and good stewards to help us keep the city moving forward. As many of you may be aware, the city of Franklin was among the first four certified Main Street programs in 1984 under the Louisiana Main Street program along with Homer, Hammond, and Donaldsonville. At the time then, Mayor Sam Jones, and we stand on the shoulders of giants that have come before us. His council who approved this as they moved forward because they had the vision. He without vision would perish. They saw the big picture, and we thank God for them. That council was made up of Mr. Malcolm Blakesley, Mr. Lee Furman, Neil Miner, and we're so grateful to have Mr. O'Ray Rogers, the living member of that council. Mr. O'Ray is with us this morning, 93 years young. We thank God for you, Mr. O'Ray. So please give Mr. O'Ray a round of applause. We thank God for your wisdom, and he still gets his messages up to me at City Hall when we're working on stuff. So I thank God for you, Mr. O'Ray, and we all do. This community owes a debt of gratitude to you and your service. And I promised my wife I wouldn't get choked up, and my sister Carol, but also my father, Carl C. Folcard Sr., he was on that council as well, and he served a very long time with Sam as well as Mr. O'Ray, and they provided a great deal of guidance and wisdom and understanding with Sam. Sam was young and full of vinegar at the time, but you had Mr. O'Ray and my dad and Mr. Malcolm that would sometimes slow him down a little bit, but we thank God for them. But my brother, Carl Jr., where you stand, he's representing my dad on this morning. And also my sister Carol and my brother Donald, they're out here as well. So, we wanted to acknowledge that as well. And Tiger is telling me that Sam is on his way. The city of Franklin is tasked with two requirements since its inception in 1984 to be a part of the Louisiana Main Street program. Number one, we must employ a Main Street director, and I think we have one of the best on this side of the Mississippi, Mr. Ed Tiger Verdon, who also serves as the Main Street director and our public relations director. So we're very thankful for Tiger. And also we have our Main Street Board of Directors, which is comprised of Mrs. Dee Dee Battle, Henry Freeman, Dolores Stewart, Chad Boutte, and also Donnie Barnes. The city of Franklin is currently experiencing a robust revitalization movement propelled by the collaborative efforts of many individuals and a dedicated army of volunteers throughout our picturesque city. In 2018, one of the initial initiatives undertaken by my administration was the initiative of Shop Local First, Eat Local First, Play Local First, Fuel Local First campaign. The aim was to educate our community on the significance of supporting local businesses rather than resorting to online and out-of-town purchases. We coined the phrase, as Main Street goes, so goes the rest of the community. And it's all here under the lamppost. Thank you, Mrs. Wilkes. The Revitalization Franklin, hashtag Revitalize Franklin, to include a larger dynamic, which is more than the 3 blocks of the downtown Main Street area, because we've done things all over Franklin. And as the tax dollars on Main Street goes, we spread that throughout, charity spreads abroad. We do things all over Franklin. My administration has embarked on self-promoting Franklin as a tourism destination through various channels, including social media, tourism publications, and partnerships with traditional media outlets. I've had many 4 a.m. calls with Tiger on KADN, KATC. We've sat in City Hall at 5 o'clock in the morning with Mr. Crown waiting for KATC to arrive, but we've done what we had to do to promote our city. In 2019, for the first time, the Franklin Main Street achieved its national accreditation with Main Street USA organization. joining a select group of 1,200 accredited main streets nationwide. We're just waiting on Hallmark to come in and do a production in downtown Franklin for a nice Cajun Christmas or Creole Christmas program in downtown Franklin. So we're working on it. In 2019, 2020, we began working on a project that would help change the structure of our Main Street district forever, working with our former special projects manager, Glenn Todd. Glenn is here with us this morning. We miss Glenn tremendously. He's welcome back at any time, but we miss you, Glenn. My administration, the vision of the historic Pocket Park began taking shape. During the global pandemic, we performed a virtual ribbon cutting of a blank space where we are currently sitting right now, in which it was 100% community funded. It was a community funded public space. The community bought into it, they purchased bricks, and it was all paid for by brick sales. When Glenn and I started looking at everything, my first thing, being a former CFO for a nonprofit, my first thing was, where are we going to get this money from? Glenn said, don't worry about it. We have a game plan. We're going to do the brick sales, and we'll sell bricks and fund the project. I said, well, let's rock and roll. So here we are. In 2021, we began seeing many volunteers emerging. Mr. Skippy Abear, Skippy is out here somewhere. Skippy, okay. Skippy Abear began pressure washing, and at one point I said, if you stand in the way, Skippy will pressure wash you if you don't get out of his way. So he began pressure washing sidewalks to help create Franklin's own Huckleberry Finn moment when he and other volunteers began painting the gates around the cemetery. And those gates came off of the old bridge at Calumet, and the Jones administration brought those gates into Franklin, and we have some beautiful gates at our, at the cemetery. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity donated wrought iron trash cans along our Main Street district, along MLK and Willow Street. Mrs. Dee Dee Battle continued to spearhead the Let's Be Frank, Keep Franklin Beautiful monthly cleanup initiative. The Franklin Main Street Design Committee began its initiative to increase its beautification efforts beyond the planners. Each merchant personally sponsored. The members of the Franklin Merchants Association have been great partners with the city of Franklin by creating many events throughout our city and have done that for decades. School and civic organizations were also joining in the efforts to create what we see here today. I consistently say that I cannot do this alone. It takes the energy and positivity of a community to help revitalize each and every part of this city. We are slowly starting to see tour buses, international groups return since the pandemic, pre-pandemic times. As we together have created a vibrant Main Street corridor, we're now seeking the revitalization movement into our parks and neighborhoods throughout Franklin. Through South Central Planning, we were able to achieve a $1.6 million HVAC renovation along with a $400,000 parks and playground renovation. So it was $2 million that we were able to pump back into those areas, and they were earmarked for those particular areas, and we couldn't use it for anything else. If I had gotten that $2 million, I would have put it into water projects, but we could only use it for that particular project. Each and every day, my administration continues to build off what has been built for us since 1984. As we continue to build for those that come after us, I've always heard my dad say, son, sometimes you have to leave things just a little bit better than what you found it. And I know that Mr. O'Ray and I see Sam Jones has just gotten here. That's what they had always strived to do, to leave things just a little bit better than before. And we're going to continue to work on this. It's a 200-year-old city. Things didn't get in this condition overnight. Many times residents are called and reach out to us. Any one of the council members are very, very accessible. Government works best when it's closest to the people. We can make things happen. I tell folks all the time when they see one of my brothers or sisters or one of the council members, they see me. They see Tiger, they see me. If they see Tammy Rogers, they see me. We'll make something happen to, just lighten the burden just a little bit. Today, as we celebrate the City of Franklin's first large-scale mural created by world-renowned muralist Robert Dalford, and again, Robert, thank you. I can't thank you enough. I'll turn this portion of the ceremony over to our Main Street Director, Ed Tiger Verdon. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I would like to thank everyone for taking time to join us for this special day. As Franklin's 6th Main Street Director, I stand on the shoulder of giants that have come before me. Mr. Richard Martok, Mr. Greg Young, Ms. Susan Affman, Mr. Michael Domain, Ms. Marla Chardon, who is here today, and Ms. Orlana Shields. With the partnership and guidance from Mr. Ray Scriber and Ms. Amanda Lanata from Louisiana Main Street, the City of Franklin has continued as a nationally accredited Main Street program every year since 2019. I would like to invite Mr. Ray Scriber, Executive Director of the Louisiana Main Street Program, to say a few words.
There. Thank you, Tiger, and thank you all for being here. 40 years ago, in 1984, Louisiana started its Main Street program. So we're celebrating 40 years of Main Street across the state. And as the mayor said, Franklin was one of the first 4 Main Street communities. We've had a partnership with the City of Franklin and Franklin Main Street for 40 years now, and we look forward to having a partnership for 40 more years and 400 more years as we continue to move forward to help Franklin be a better place and to be a great place for people to live. One of my favorite ways that we partner with our Main Street communities is that we have a facade grant program or a building restoration grant program that property owners can apply for to to do some restoration work for their buildings. And several property owners in Franklin have applied for and successfully received and implemented good projects with that funding. But one of the most recent ones is that we helped in a small way with the restoration of the old post office building to help get it back into use and to use as a commercial space. And it's such a beautiful building. We were really happy to be a part of that, small part of that. We are located in state government. We're housed in state government in the Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism, ultimately a part of the Lieutenant Governor's office, and I have a proclamation from the Lieutenant Governor that I'd like to read to you now. The Lieutenant Governor has been traveling across the world encouraging tourists to come to our state and not only to the city of New Orleans, but also to our small towns. That's a really big, important emphasis of his, and so we want to work to help that continue to get the tourists into small towns. And one of the things they want to see is a vibrant and beautiful and thriving downtown. So we hope to be able to continue to help with that. All right, so the proclamation says, whereas Main Street programs carry out community-driven revitalization, stimulating property and local business development in historic downtowns, and whereas the City of Franklin, Louisiana founded its Main Street program in 1984, becoming one of the first 4 communities to receive designation from Louisiana Main Street, and whereas since then, more than $10 million has been invested in downtown Franklin by private and public entities, and whereas over the past 40 years, 139 new businesses have started in downtown Franklin, creating more than 226 new jobs, and whereas today, the directors and volunteers of Franklin Main Street continue to work tirelessly to make downtown Franklin a vibrant and thriving destination, now therefore, I, Billy Nungesser, by the authority vested in me as Lieutenant Governor of the state of Louisiana, do hereby honor, recognize, and congratulate the City of Franklin Main Street program on the occasion of their 40th anniversary. This work is not done by us at the state level. We assist and we help in whatever way we can, but it's very much community-driven, and done by the people of the community and the volunteers of the community. So thank you to all the volunteers from throughout 40 years who've been a part of the board for Main Street. Thank you to all the former Main Street directors and the former mayors who have wisely recognized that downtown is important to the community as a whole. And again, we look forward to our continued partnership with you all.
As we continue to move forward as a Main Street program, we recognize that this year's theme at the Main Street America National Conference, it spoke loudly. Main Street is for everyone. The City of Franklin will continue to focus on keeping the heartbeat of our community being led by those that invested into that heartbeat, the Franklin Merchants Association and business owners in Franklin. They continue to have skin in the game, and I would like to recognize them at this time. So if you're a member of the Merchants Association or a business or property owner, please raise your hand. Of course, many of them are currently running their businesses right now. So I remember when Franklin had very little movement and almost no civic pride. 20 years ago, I remember the looks when I began promoting Franklin and the theater on Lafayette television stations. The looks and ask, why would we go there? Or y'all are doing that in Franklin? That would pierce my heart because I felt like we were doing most here in Franklin than any place else in Acadiana. But times change. I will always credit Mayor Folkard as being the spark to the flame that has turned into a wildfire of what we're currently experiencing. Now, I speak to the media almost every week. Now the media is calling to cover events in Franklin almost daily. Now those remarks of disdain have turned into, man, y'all really have it going on in Franklin. And Franklin is just a jewel. And I always get the question across the state, what's Franklin's secret to its revitalization? And I tell everyone it starts at the top. You must have a mayor that has a vision and professional, impeccable leadership. Second, it takes a community. So I sum it up to this. And if Amanda Lanata with Main Street would be here, she always likes to steal my what I say, and she puts it on the leaderboard. So Franklin's revitalization is because of the proper ingredients of proven leadership, community, volunteerism, partnerships, dedication, pride, and a sense of placemaking, all creating the perfect gumbo that you see, smell, touch, and taste today. So although we eat that gumbo today, we strive to leave it better, a better recipe for those that will come in the years after us. So happy 40th anniversary, Franklin Main Street. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to turn this part back over to the mayor as he comes up, and we'll get the program started for the mural.
Today is a day many in our community have envisioned it for their space and others for a few years. With each step and every project, we take another grand leap forward as a community. There's unity in the community. Tiger has been looking for grants, large and small, for a mural almost since he came on board with us. And we started off looking for a mural for the side of the Tash Theater for quite some time. And not long ago, he walked in my office smiling, advising me that he had received a smaller grant he garnered through the Division of Arts. We knew exactly where it should go, and you're looking at it. Public art can speak volumes to tell the history of a community. Today, we are joined by Scott Finch, April, with the Louisiana Division of Arts to share a few words. And then after they speak, we'll have our parish president, Sam Jones, who was also the mayor of Franklin for many years. And we are where we are, but we'll follow in that order. Thank you all.
I'm Scott Finch. I direct the Percent for Art program for the state of Louisiana. Work right down the hall from from Ray, and when we started to think about this project, that's of course right where we went, because he knows the landscape so much better than we do, and was so right to point us in your direction. But this grant program that this project was done with was actually conceived of by my partner in crime here, April Bayham, who is our project manager for Percent for Art. So I'm going to ask her to say a few words first.
Good morning, everybody. We're glad to be here this morning. I know a lot of you may not be familiar with the Percent for Art program, but basically, by law, anytime a state building spends a certain amount in renovation or a new building, 1% of those construction funds goes to public art for that facility. So our scope for what we do is pretty well defined. So being able to do something like this was very different for us. We had some administration funds, some administrative funds that we had, and we kept brainstorming ways to use those funds. And we had done artist trainings before, but we wanted to try something different. We had never done murals. We always do sculptures and larger projects. And so we wanted to engage with organizations, municipalities who were interested in doing more public art in their communities, but needed to understand the public art process. So we engaged with Forecast Public Art, and they're an organization out of Minnesota, and they do this. They travel all over the country teaching people about public art. And so Franklin was one of the municipalities who submitted a letter of interest, and with the guidance of Ray and Amanda, they were able to join in that workshop and learn the public art process. And this mural is a product of that, just learning the process and funding opportunities and working with Tiger. I could not have expected a better outcome. Public art is so important for communities. It provides communities with a sense of place and a sense of pride, and we hope that you all can be proud of this beautiful mural. So congratulations to Robert Dafford, and congratulations to Franklin for this, and we hope to continue doing this great work that we do.
I think April pretty well said it. I just want to say, hearing you talk about the gumbo that you're making, we feel like we've just brought that first, like that one little ingredient for this, and we could not have imagined that it would turn out the way that it did, and we've been speechless through the whole thing. When you told us, the artist that you were able to get to work with you on this, when you told us about the way that you were able to sort of expand on that initial idea of let's just try, we're going to take a little, just dip our toe into this idea of doing murals in communities. We had no idea that it would be like this. We're so thrilled for you to have this in this community, and just to be here today to see it completed just blows me away. I'm just this is beyond what we could have imagined for this. So thank you for everything that y'all brought to this. Yeah, thank you, sir.
We'll have former mayor and current parish president Sam Jones come up and give a few words.
I won't be long. I wouldn't have dreamed when I got elected mayor that I'd still be in office at this point. The first thing I want to say, we were one of the first for the old lamps on the main street. I was in office probably about 6 months, and Donald Hahn found the original mold and said, look, we can do these lights again. I said, really? He said, well, how are we going to pay for it? So we'll go down the road and we'll ask the merchants one by one if they'll adopt one light. That's what happened. The community came together and did that. It's always about opportunities, and it's about affordable opportunities. And another good example is the Tesh Theater. We bought that theater for $35,000. You could not build it today for less than $7 million. The City Hall, we bought that for $25,000. You couldn't build that today for $15,000. There are opportunities that come from time to time, and we're working on another opportunity right now on the in the courthouse square, where we're reinventing that and reinventing that outcome to be something that people will be proud of. But when you come through Franklin, I'll close by saying this: whenever we asked people for help, they did. To a person, they did. And that's what's different about this community than any other. So I congratulate you, I thank you, and look forward to another good 4 years.
Thank you, Parish President Jones. I'm truly thankful to Scott and April for being here today with the Percent for Art program, as well as Susanna Johansson, Executive Director for the Louisiana Division of the Arts, for helping to make this happen for our community. After receiving the grant, which had a small attachment of requirements such as a 9-week virtual course on art and creative placemaking, the City of Franklin released an RFQ, request for qualifications, at the time, and the mayor created an art jury to help pick the artist. At that time, I already knew the artist that I wanted, Mr. Robert Dafford. I connected with Mr. Dafford on Instagram, and we began conversations regarding Franklin's mural. Then the conversation went silent. I thought I did something wrong. He was working on another mural, which he's always doing. We began receiving submissions, however, all were not the realism and historical style envisioned for this space. Still, nothing from Mr. Dafford. I was even told by a few people that I could never get an artist like Robert Dafford to come to Franklin to do a mural. So, funny story. I get an invite from Leonard Marshall to attend the party that was being given in his honor. And this party was happening in Youngsville. Everything happens in Youngsville, but now everything's happening in Franklin. When I walked in, Miss Frances Handy was excited, and she kept asking me, what's next for Franklin? What's next for Franklin? And I told her a large-scale mural. So she said, well, who's your artist? I said, well, I don't have anybody yet, but I know who I want. I want Robert Dafford. She said, well, have you talked to him? I said, yes. I told her the story about our social media conversations and then how that conversation went quiet. Then she smiled at me. She took out her phone. She dials and she says, hey, Robert, do you remember Tiger from Franklin? Her phone was loud, so I heard him on the other side saying, yeah, I've been meaning to get back to him. She says, well, you don't have to. Here he is. Then Robert says, hey, man, sorry, I've been busy working on a mural in Baton Rouge in this heat. You remember how hot it was last year. It's hotter than it was today, but we have these fans thanks to my wife and my kids who stapled all these together last night. So Robert tells me, hey, what are you doing Wednesday? And I said, well, I guess I'm meeting with you. So then, that Wednesday, we meet together with the mayor and Glenn Todd in the mayor's office to discuss the possibility within our budget, which we were concerned of the mural in the historic downtown Franklin Pocket Park. After a great meeting with the mayor in the mayor's office, Glenn Todd and I brought him right here to the Pocket Park with an empty blank wall. Immediately, we saw the creative mind working to build the puzzle of what Franklin is admiring today. We'll hear from Mr. Dafford very shortly, but the story continues. As discussed earlier, it takes community partners, as the City of Franklin cannot do it alone. Contributors begin to step up to the plate. Like the mayor said earlier, without a wall, you can't have a mural. So business owners like Marnie and Alan Vaughn with the Bargain Barn 2, and they're here with us tonight. Marnie and Alan, raise your hands. I know y'all not going to stand. They're very humble. So Marnie and Alan agreed to utilize their wall for a work of art that would be a representation of our entire community. Marnie and Alan, on behalf of the mayor and the City of Franklin, I thank you for your contribution in making this mural happen for our community. Thank you so much. And we had one more contributor that stepped up to the plate. We had the artist and we had the wall. But where would he stay while working to create this masterpiece for our family? Because he couldn't stay with my family. I have too many kids. Well, we could have put him on the top bunk, maybe, you know. So Mr. Al Kuhlman and the Kuhlman family stepped up and provided Mr. Dafford and his staff accommodations the length of the creation of the mural. Mr. Al Kuhlman and the Kuhlman family, on behalf of the Mayor of Franklin and the City of Franklin, I thank you for your contribution in making this mural happen for our community. Please stand. Again, humble. We have to make those guys stand because they do everything out of the kindness of their hearts for whatever it needs and whatever it takes for the City of Franklin. Very soon, contributors and all involved with making this mind-blowing masterpiece in the heart of our community, it will be emblazoned on a plaque here in the Pocket Park to solidify your contribution to Franklin's history. So at that time, a town hall meeting was had where discussion with community members present. Community members' input was taken into the creation of the mural entitled Life on the Bayou Teche, which gives a visual depiction of Franklin's history narrated by our beautiful body of water, the Bayou Teche. Mr. Dafford is responsible for many, many public art pieces across the globe. As you study this mural, I guarantee that you will find something new each and every time in different stages of lighting, at different times of day, anytime you visit the historic downtown Franklin Pocket Park. Ladies and gentlemen, I recognize and offer to you, Mr. Robert Dafford.
Thank you very much, Tiger. And thank you. And Al, that's a terrific contribution. Any time that we needed to come down and work, we had a few, 2, 3, 4 days of good weather. He said, come on in. And they put us up. It was great. Thank you for the forest. And I want to thank all the merchants. It was wonderful meeting all the merchants up and down the boulevard. Everyone was so kind to us. It really made us feel like we wanted to be here. It made us feel like we were part of your community, and I really appreciated that. When Tiger first called, what he didn't realize was I love an opportunity to work in Louisiana. I'm usually home by Thanksgiving, and I'll stay until May or June. In June, I go back north and start painting. And I have some ongoing projects like this where we've painted as many as 60 or 70 or even 80 murals in one city on the riverfronts. I don't know what it is operating in my life that keeps me working on riverfronts. Riverfront developments and downtown revitalization is what I've made my whole life, my whole career. And I absolutely love it, helping to bring more people downtown and save our architectural heritage, develop our own little cultures, our own heritage. I like being a part of that. It's important to me. And after our meeting with the mayor and Tiger, I said, well, let's go see it. And the second we walked in the park, and Tiger said, we were thinking of the Teche when we made this sidewalk. And I said, well, the Teche has to continue in the painting, too. It came through me from the Great Spirit, from God, from our guides, our angels, however you perceive of that. It came to me. We're going to make a depiction of the Teche. That's where human life came from. It's our connection all the way up and down the bayou, from the bays to the Gulf, all the way up to what's Port Barre now. The river system. And this bayou has been so important in Louisiana history, and it's probably the most famous bayou out in the rest of America. A lot of people have heard of the Bayou Teche. And I thought then, on each loop of the Teche, let's have a different era of people, of life on the Teche here. The Chitimacha people, the coming of the Acadians in the late 1700s, then the development of the plantation era, and then the development of the riverfront, a fortuitous location right here for that to happen, and then modern times. And it just grew on its own with letting that information just come through. And day by day by day, it was really wonderful working here. I really liked it a lot. I thank all of y'all for being so kind to us, and so many meals and glasses of tea and ice cream and sandwiches, and it's been really a pleasure to work here. And I thank you for the opportunity. To me, it was a great opportunity.
Definitely deserves a standing ovation. So now I'm going to give them a history, and there will be an exam after. So as a breakdown of what you visualize, I tried to find a native drum circle, and I could not find a native drum circle because I wanted to have them right at the beginning of the pocket part playing as you walked in, along with the gospel music that you heard playing. But as a breakdown of what you visualize, starting in the 1600s, we began with our original inhabitants of the region, the Chitimacha tribe of Louisiana. The Chitimacha tribe of Louisiana is the only tribe in Louisiana to still occupy a portion of their aboriginal land. Utilization of the Bayou Teche for travel, food, and river cane utilized to make their world-famous baskets. I would ask Chief Melinda Dorton to come up to give us the reading of the legend of the Bayou Teche as told and made famous by the Chitimacha. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I will have to correct you. It's Melissa Darden.
Melissa Dorton. Oh my God.
Good morning. I want to give you the legend of the Bayou Teche. Many years ago, in the days of the tribe's strength, there was a huge and venomous snake. This snake was so large and so long that its size was not measured in feet, but in miles. This enormous snake had been an enemy of the Chitimacha for many years. Because of its destruction to many of their ways of life, one day the Chitimacha chief called together his warriors and had them prepare themselves for battle with their enemy. In those days, there were no guns that could be used to kill the snake. All they had were their clubs and bows and arrows. With arrowheads made of large bones from the garfish, of course, a snake over 10 miles long could not be instantly killed. The warriors fought courageously to kill the enemy, but the snake fought just as hard to survive. As the beast turned and twisted, in the last few days of a slow death, it broadened, curved, and deepened. The place wherein his huge body lay, the Bayou Teche, is proof of the exact position into which the enemy placed himself when overcome by the Chitimacha warriors. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And look, I can remember a 90-page script, but I can never remember her name. Never. So now we move into the 1700s, when the Acadians and Cajuns began to settle the banks of the Bayou Teche from Port Barry to Berwick Bay. It may have sounded a little like this, as Stephen and Aaron will soon perform. Thank you, Stephen and Erin. They will be playing a little bit later here in the Pocket Park and later down by the French door. So the official founding of Carlin Settlement in 1808 by Joseph Carlin, later renamed Franklin after Benjamin Franklin. As our waterways were the main mode of travel, the Bayou Teche was the main street, and the paddle wheeler hauled goods and people from town to town. As we moved into the sugar era, large plantations and sugar mills began to spread across the area. The slave economy in Franklin grew as well. Enslaved Africans began the practice of Christianity and utilized the waters of the Bayou Teche to conduct baptisms as depicted. The Tri-Parish Gospel Ensemble will give us the sounds of a baptismal hymn. Ladies and gentlemen, the Tri-Parish Gospel Ensemble, thank you so much. Next, moving through the modern era of the 1900s, Franklin saw the invention of the automobile, which began to change the mode of transportation. If you look at your fan, you see the late 1800s on the picture. You see no neutral ground. You see people walking. You see people using the mode of transportation as horse and carriage. But soon the automobile would change this. This would begin to change the mode of travel from bayou to land. However, dependence as a food and recreational source, which continues through today. Around the Bayou Teche, history you can see many native Louisiana flowers. And Robert has captured that around the border, as you can see, where the magnolia, azalea, Louisiana iris, camellia come to life to highlight the beauty of not only Franklin, but all of Louisiana. Adding to the charm of Franklin's beauty and hospitality, I am proud to be a small part of Franklin's overall history that is still has many, many chapters to tell. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Glenn Todd.
And also, there he is, former Councilman Dale Rogers. Dale was on the council with us as well, and he played an integral part in helping us to keep the Main Street program going and vibrant as well. So thank you, Dale, for your efforts on the Parish Council and on the Franklin City Council. So thank you so much. On behalf of the City of Franklin and the Franklin City Council, I, Mayor Eugene P. Foulcard, hereby dedicate this mural to the community of Franklin on this date of June 1st, 2024. So at this time, we'll be cutting the ribbon. Robert, we'll have you come up. Members of the Franklin current City Council, and also our special guests, Marnie, and Mr. Vaughn, and also Mr. Al and Mark. All of the special guests that's seated with us right now. Mr. Ori, if Mr. Ori can stand.
You want Sam up there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sam, come on. I'm looking this way. Parish President, come on up. All right.
Ray, you need to get in this more this way.
We're all spreading. Everybody, count down. 1, 2, 3, go. Congratulations, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the ceremony. We thank you for coming out. I would be remiss if I didn't say, as the mayor says, as Main Street goes, so goes the rest of the community. So please continue to eat local first, shop local first, fuel local first, and play local first. You're on Main Street, so please have a great time today. We do have bands that are going to be set up right here. We have Stephen and Aaron's about to play for us, and then they'll be by the French door. And then at noon, we have Borrowed Time gonna play from noon until 2. So thank you so much. I want to thank LPB for coming out today. We have LPB out. We have KBZE and KQKI out today, and of course Tesh Talk. We cannot do anything in our community without you all. Thank you so much. Thank y'all for coming.
We want to thank you for joining us today for this dedication of this beautiful mural. I'm going to go give you a close-up tour of it. And of course, we encourage you to come out and see this for yourself sometime. As Tiger said, let's see, we're going to get around here. Excuse me. And he said different times of the day, different lighting. You can see different features of the mural. And as, of course, you can see here, this begins in the 1600s, the 1700s. Get around here so you can see the 1800s that Tiger was referring to. You can see the baptism right there as it moves on into the 1900s, finally into the current century, back into the 2000s. Of course, you can see the barge pushing the sugar and the magnolias, a beautiful mural. And again, we invite you to come on out and see it for yourself, come out to the Pocket Park. It's a beautiful addition here to the city of Franklin and downtown Franklin, and hats off to everyone who's involved in this. I'm Brady Borrell for KQKI News, your local news leader. Have a great day.